In Harlem, power didn't come from money. It came from knowing things before anyone else did. In the 1950s, the Italian Mafia controlled most of New York. They controlled unions. They controlled the politicians. They controlled the streets. But there was one neighborhood they never fully owned: Harlem. And the reason had a name: Ellsworth, Bumpy Johnson. They tried bullets. They tried prison. They tried betrayal. Nothing worked. Because Bumpy Johnson didn't play by gangster rules. He played by chess rules. And by the time his enemies realized they were in danger, the game was already over before Bumpy Johnson rose. Harlem was rich in culture, but poor in power. Jazz clubs were full. Churches were packed. But behind the music and smiles, money was being drained out of the community. The numbers racket. An underground lottery made millions every year, and almost all of it went to white mob bosses. Black workers ran the streets. White men took the profits. That imbalance couldn't last forever. Bumpy Johnson wasn't loud. He wasn't flashy. He read poetry. He quoted Shakespeare. And when he spoke, people listened. He grew up learning one hard truth: if you don't protect your people, no one else will. Instead of ruling through fear alone, Bumpy ruled through order. No drugs near schools. No violence against local families. No outsiders exploiting Harlem businesses. Break those rules, and Harlem would turn its back on you. The Mafia hated one thing more than losing money: losing control. Italian families wanted Harlem's numbers racket completely. Bumpy refused. Meetings were called. Threats were delivered. Bumpy's answer was always the same: Harlem isn't for sale. That made him dangerous, because men who won't sell can't be bought. So instead of killing him, they watched him. Here's what movies don't tell you. The Mafia could have killed Bumpy, but they didn't. Removing Bumpy meant chaos, riots, gang wars, police pressure. Bumpy was the buffer between Harlem and total collapse. And the Mafia understood one thing very well: a controlled enemy is better than an uncontrollable vacuum. Bumpy Johnson knew it too, and he stayed 3 steps ahead. Johnson spent years behind bars, including time in Alcatraz. Most men came out broken. Bumpy came out smarter. He studied people. He studied systems. He learned patience. When he returned to Harlem, nothing had changed. The streets still recognized him, because real power doesn't disappear just because a man does. Stories spread, some true, some exaggerated. People said Bumpy knew about hits before they happened, that he could sense betrayal weeks in advance, that even his enemies warned him out of respect. Maybe all of it wasn't true, but belief is stronger than truth. And by the 1960s, Bumpy Johnson wasn't just a man, he was a message. February 1968. Lenox Lounge, Harlem. Bumpy Johnson sat at his usual table, drinking coffee, talking business. No bodyguards panicking. No shootout, just calm. Then his heart failed. The man who survived bullets, prisons, and betrayal died quietly in the place he controlled, on his own terms. After Bumpy died, Harlem changed. Not overnight, but slowly. Because men like him don't get replaced. They leave a gap. And that gap reminds people what order looks like when it's built from respect instead of fear. Bumpy Johnson proved one thing: you don't need to be the loudest man in the room to be the most powerful. Sometimes, the quiet ones are the most dangerous.